It's Thursday, February 2. In the headlines, Child Protection and Family Services Agency CPFSA confirm rise in child addiction to porn linked to the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. In business news, gas and diesel prices are down. Regionally, Barbados's childhood obesity program demands implementation of school nutrition policy. Internationally, Israelis in occupied East Jerusalem accused of punishing Jamaica's Deputy Children's Registrar, Warren Thompson, has disclosed that since the COVID-19 pandemic hit the world and Jamaica, there has been a significant increase in cases of children becoming addicted to pornography.
A whole lot of videos of children exposed in various kinds of ways going around on social media. For us at the CPFSA, one of the first things we do is to get those videos to the police for the cybercrimes unit to do their investigations to identify the provenance of those videos.
Speaking at a recent forum on children, sex and the media put on by the PAJ this week to mark the commemoration of the Press Association Week, Mr. Thompson said that of concern as well are the unregulated spaces where so-called reporters are operating in spaces that the nation's children also now have full and inappropriate access to.
There are these reporters and these commentators who have their YouTube pages and their TikToks or other platforms where they are disseminating information and often in an unethical way and put people at risk. They put young people at risk. And sometimes they are reporting things that we don't hear in the traditional media. And you have to wonder where they got their sources from. And the last thing I'll share is we have to think, both for the traditional media and if we are to make inroads into the unregulated spaces, what kind of content do we want our children exposed to generally? What is our moral responsibility as producers of content? And what actions do we need to take to respond to the crisis that already exists?
According to Mr. Thompson, the media needs to up its moral safeguard game.
I recently, I was listening to a broadcast on the radio, and they were reading something. And the words that they were calling out, I was wondering, Mr. Green at the time, if this was allowed by the Broadcasting Commission. Perhaps it was, but then I was thinking, what about the children who may be listening to this? And then when we carry certain kinds of stories, what are the messages that we want the children in particular to get about what kinds of behaviors are acceptable, about what is permissible for them? And yes, we have to have an understanding of adolescent sexuality and their sexual explorations and so on. But we have to think about the media as playing the role as a moral safeguard that is contributing to the kind of Jamaica that we want to see next year, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. And I'll end there.
The forum was the first activity in a series of events planned by the PAJ to mark Press Week in Jamaica. National Journalism Week occurs between January 29 to February 4 and is being held under the theme of Free Press for a Better Jamaica. The United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, and telecommunications firm Flow have partnered to launch the U Report poll, which aims to facilitate greater understanding of how children operate and the actions they take to protect themselves in the digital space. U Report is a messaging tool developed by UNICEF that empowers young persons globally to add their voices on issues that matter to them. U Reporters in Jamaica are part of a worldwide community of more than 27 million youth aged 13 and older. Acting UNICEF Jamaica representative Vicente Terran said growing access to the internet and increased time spent online by children creates situations in which the youngsters may be exposed to new forms of violence. These include cyberbullying, exploitation, online grooming for sexual purposes, and child online pornography. He further noted that the COVID-19 pandemic led to surges in unsupervised time online among children and adolescents, which has magnified their vulnerability. It was recommended that swift action be taken to address issues of online safety through public education, raising awareness about the dangers on the internet, and adopting a comprehensive systems approach to tackling technology-facilitated abuse and exploitation. It was stated that the U-Report poll is another tool to help in understanding what young people are experiencing online. He was speaking during the Flow Foundation's Connected and Protected Safer Internet 2023 program launch at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston this week. Data from the poll will be used to inform public and private sector decision makers in designing appropriate responses. Vice President of Flow Jamaica, Stephen Price, said the U-Report poll, which was conducted between January 16 and 31, will yield valuable information that will be used to strengthen safeguards for young people online. Persons can participate by sending the word poll to U-Report via WhatsApp at 876-838-4897, logging on to Instagram at U-Report-Jamaica, or Facebook Messenger at U-Report-Jamaica. Counseling by qualified persons is also available via the U-Matter chat line with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The service is free, anonymous, and confidential. Youth with Flow's help can access this service by sending the word support to U-Report. United Nations Development Program launched its new 5-year development program for Jamaica recently. Priority areas for the 2022 to 2026 cycle include social resilience and inclusion, citizen safety and security and the rule of law, climate change resilience, and sustainable natural resource management. It's being implemented in 4 other Caribbean countries. Simone Absalom Gale reports.
Speaking at the launch, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, welcomed the commitment of the UNDP to ensure closer alignment between the desired outcome of the UNDP and the priorities articulated in Jamaica's National Development Plan.
This agreement formalized the arrangements of support and, importantly, established the UNDP's physical presence, headed by a resident representative in Jamaica. Of the countries now under the jurisdiction of the UNDP Multi-Country Office, Jamaica was the second to have signed such an agreement following the Bahamas in 1974. Today, we are proud to be home to the UNDP's operations across the 5 territories, and I will repeat them for those of you in the audience who did not make notes: Jamaica, the Bahamas, Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, and the Turks and Caicos Islands.
In her address, UNDP resident representative Denise Antonio explained some of the goals set by her organization.
UNDP recently published our flagship Human Development Report, and it noted that for the first time in 32 years, more than 90% of the countries reported a decline in their human development indexes score in either 2020 or 2021. So you can see the impact of the crisis we have been having over the years. The deepening of multi-dimensional poverty is being felt by many, and particularly the most vulnerable in our societies. Of course, when we speak of multidimensional poverty, the reference to income alone is not enough to truly capture the true realities of poverty. A person who is poor suffers multiple disadvantages at the same time. For example, they have poor health, malnutrition, they have lack of clean water, or electricity, poor quality of work, little education, and access to basic services.
She pointed out that signature solutions include the expansion of broadband access to underserved communities and systematic changes in the justice system using equitable human rights and gender-responsive approaches.
We intend to provide targeted and transformational integrated interventions through 4 priority areas. The first is social resilience and inclusion. The second is citizen safety and security and the rule of law. The third, so relevant for this region as well, is climate change resilience. And the fourth is sustainable natural resources management.
Ms. Antonio says the organization offers a uniquely tailored approach to help reduce multidimensional poverty.
We aim to leave no one behind. While this may seem very ambitious, we are confident that the collective partnership of governments, international donor partners, civil society, private sector, and citizens, together we can.
The UNDP operates in 170 countries with a mission to eradicate poverty, reduce inequality, and build resilience to achieve sustainable development goals.
In entertainment news, reggae singer PBCJ is taking a bold step this year in creating a new paradigm for live music shows. Launching his Lost in Time festival earlier this week, this is what the entertainer explained.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep Lost in Time Festival incorporate and a lot of the things I've seen in the festivals I've traveled and played at. 2 stages, artisan villages, food courts, etc., shopping parts, just to really give people experience when they get there. And me, Lila Ike, Jesse, Mortimer, Samarin, many artists on the lineup. Check it out, February 25th at Hope Gardens on Palm Drive. It's going to be a crazy experience.
The Lost in Time Festival's creative director Yannick Reed gave further details on the inspiration behind the single-day event slated for February 25, 2023.
So the Lost in Time Festival is the brainchild of PBCJ, the headliner. He really wanted to be able to create a unique experience. While on tour, we've been to various concerts where it's a multi-stage experience. And we just wanted to have an opportunity to bring that different experience back to Jamaica so that other people can experience it. So that was our intention for the Lost in Time Festival. 2 different stages, a whole list of different artists, and just one unique experience.
Yard Core, founder of the global party Dubwise Jamaica, creator of the popular Reggae Aroma mixtape series, and the first person to play Leading Lights, Chronics, and PBCJ over the Jamaican airwaves, is one of the acts slated to headline the show. He spoke about the coming event with PBCJ News.
Well, we are participating at the festival because we got invited to be a participant, and it's really a joy to be, able to accept that invitation, because as you say, this is the first of its kind in Jamaica where, people are getting a show from early in the day and, on 2 different stages, and just the whole experience, so it's a joy to, be a part of this,
PBCJ is a contemporary reggae singer and songwriter from Jamaica. And it's time now for the business report with Danita Rodney.
Motorists will pay less for gas when they go to the pumps on Thursday. The state-owned oil refinery Petrojam says down by 25 cents, E1087 and E1090 will sell for $167.66 and $171.63 per liter respectively. Automotive diesel oil will move down by $3 per liter to sell for $210.34. Ultra-low sulfur diesel will sell for $221.01 per liter, following a decrease of 25 cents. The price of kerosene will go down by 25 cents to sell for $218.79. In the meantime, propane cooking gas will go up by $3 to sell for $71.11, while butane will move down by 25 cents to sell for $75.95 per liter. Remember, retailers will add their markups to the announced prices. On Wednesday, members of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee met to review the third supplementary estimates for the financial year ending 2023. Finance Secretary Darlene Morrison, in her review, began by giving an update on the new compensation plan and the new groups that will benefit from the third estimates.
The process of finalizing the new compensation system continues, and the government has sought to provide through the third supplementary estimates for the first year of the new structure for groups within the health, education, and security sectors, as well as some other public service groups for which no allocations were made in the second supplementary estimates.
Ms. Morrison continued her statement by giving the committee the purpose of the new estimates.
The primary purpose of the third supplementary estimates is to allocate resources to MDAs to enable, where possible, payment of the first year costs of the new compensation system to the groups not addressed in the second supplementary.
She goes on to give a breakdown of the increases in the third estimates and what they would cover.
Third supplementary estimates proposes to increase the fiscal year 2022-23 budgetary allocation by $25.4 billion, or 2.5%, to $998.2 billion. And this is now comprised of non-debt expenditure of $684.4 billion, of which compensation of employees accounts for $334.4 billion, recurring programs for $286 billion, and capital for $64 billion. The public debt service is at $313.8 billion.
Now for your market updates. In foreign exchange trading for Wednesday, February 1, the US dollar sold for an average of $154.64. The Canadian dollar ended trading at $116.29. The pound sterling traded for $191.14, and the euro sold for $169.76. In GSE trading, the GSE index declined by 2,544 points. The junior market index declined by 62 points. The combined market index declined by 2,950 points. And the All Jamaican Composite Index declined by 3,399 points. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 109 stocks, of which 41 advanced, 57 declined, and 11 traded firm. Stocks advanced for 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited Variable Preference, Berger Paints Jamaica Limited, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers Limited. Stocks declined for Access Financial Services Limited, Barita Investments Limited, and Blue Power Group Limited. Trading firm were 138 Student Living Jamaica Limited, Cargo Handlers Limited, and Epley 7.50% preference shares due 2024. The overall volume leaders were One-on-One Educational Services Limited with over 3 million units, Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with over 3 million units, and Trans Jamaican Highway Limited with over 1 million units. In regional stocks, in Trinidad and Tobago, Calypso Macro Index Fund was once again the only active security posting a volume of 30 shares. On the Barbados Stock Exchange, Goddard Enterprises Limited was the volume leader with over 5,000 shares. They were followed by Cave Shepherd and Company Limited, which traded 400 shares. In regional business, the new oil-producing ship Prosperity, which is expected to produce an estimate of 220,000 barrels of oil per day and bring in over $1.4 billion for Guyana this year, has been hailed the definition of excellence by operator ExxonMobil.
First Lady Arya Ali was designated the godmother of the Prosperity FPSO and on Wednesday morning took part in the naming ceremony. In her speech, she spoke a lot about the meaning of the word prosperity and what that holds out for Guyana and Guyanese.
Ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of our gracious godmother, Her Excellency Mrs. Arya Ali, the First Lady of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana.
is an absolute honor to be given the title of Godmother yet again, and I am delighted to be here with you all in person to bestow luck and protection over the vessel and its crew as they bring the vessel home into Guyana's waters. As we move forward, we are hopeful and optimistic that the state we find ourselves in echoes the name of this vessel, and that the people of Guyana thrive and succeed.
Mrs. Ali said the stirred FPSO signals opportunities for growth, more opportunities for businesses, and more opportunities for individuals.
Working with ExxonMobil, along with their co-ventures Hess and CNOOC, has provided Guyana with the means to boost our nation's development, resulting in unprecedented economic growth, even during the pandemic. This third vessel adds to the opportunities for individuals and businesses to grow beyond the confines of what currently exists. The partnership between ExxonMobil and Guyana is one that is undeniably borne fruit for all of us, and our alignment on future projects will continue to do so.
The floating production, storage and offloading vessel, the Prosperity, will soon set sail for Guyanese waters and is expected to be set up by the third quarter of the year and begin production.
In market data for oil prices slipped as looming sanctions on Russian oil products added uncertainty over supply, and a bill in U.S. fuel stocks suggested sluggish demand despite signs of global economic recovery. Brent crude futures fell 67 cents to $82.17 a barrel, while West Texas Intermediate crude lost 49 cents to $75.92 a barrel. And that was the business report on PBCJ. I'm Denita Rodney.
In regional news, the fear of childhood obesity in Barbados is getting worse. That's why officials from the Childhood Obesity Program want the school nutrition policy implemented to allow access to more affordable, healthy food. Sean Farrell has more.
I love being healthy. I love being healthy. I love being healthy.
St. Lawrence Primary School students love being healthy. But according to Program Manager of the Childhood Obesity Prevention Program, Francine Charles, lack of action on the National Nutrition Policy is making it much harder to access affordable, healthy foods.
Education without some kind of action around it will always be an issue. And so we really are calling on government to ensure that the policies that are being issued globally are actually being enforced here in Barbados. And so as civil society, we have been working with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health and Wellness to ensure that a school nutrition policy comes into play. So the policy was approved, but now we need to see it implemented.
And the point about how expensive healthy foods are has been reinforced by this recent UN report.
The United Nations recently sent out a report, and it was in the news today, that the Caribbean region it's extremely expensive to eat healthy here.
Young women from indigenous communities are being trained by the Guyana Marine Conservation Society under an Interdevelopment Bank program to monitor underwater ecosystems.
The Guyana Marine Conservation Society is currently implementing a project under the Inter-American Development Bank LAP project. It's called Securing the Future of the Rumor Passage Mangrove Ecosystems and its People. We have what we refer to as Youth in Local Content Brigade. This is basically the girls and the youths from the communities being trained to take pictures and videos, whether using cameras, their phones, or the drones, to share on social media so that they are telling their stories from their communities directly. It won't be through a third person just going in there and sharing the story from their point of view. So for the second component, it's basically developing green businesses. So in the first component, we're talking about protecting the environment, ways you can use it in a sustainable manner. We're teaching people not to cut down their mangroves, but to use alternatives.
Doing away with protocols requiring Bahamians to possess a U.S. visa or police record to travel would be risky. This is from U.S. Charge d'Affaires Yusha Pitts. Berthany McDermott has the details.
Days after Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell said he believes Bahamians should not need visas to enter the United States, U.S. Charge d'Affaires Yusha Pitts is weighing in.
I think that would be actually kind of risky for both of our countries because remember, there are still bad elements out there and we still do want to maintain border security. So I don't think that's recommended. I don't think it's been a discussion.
This isn't the first time Mitchell has spoken on the matter. His latest comments came on Monday as he was speaking at the opening of a passport office in Cat Island. Mitchell reiterated his sentiment.
If y'all can figure out how to get visa waiver from the United States, let me know. Because I keep telling them I have no idea why Bahamians need to have visas to go to the United States. I told them if the 400,000 of us decided to move to the States tomorrow, it wouldn't be even a blip on the map. So when you see them next time, when you see the president next time, whisper that in his ear. No visas for Bahamians.
Now, given the admission from the Foreign Affairs Minister, we asked Pitts if there has been any discussions, to her knowledge, to change the current protocols.
On the international scene, the families of Palestinians accused of carrying out 2 attacks on Israelis in occupied East Jerusalem last week say they are being collectively punished. The violence led to the Israeli government fast-tracking punitive measures. Al Jazeera tells us more.
Under the watchful eyes of Israeli soldiers, Palestinians living in this neighborhood are scared of reprisals. After one of the worst attacks on Israelis in years, occupation forces carried out door-to-door raids in Ras Al Amud, arresting more than 40 people, including the attackers' family, friends and neighbors. They say they're being collectively punished after 21-year-old Khairi Alqam killed 7 Israelis outside a synagogue on Friday.
His family say they've not been allowed to leave the home. The whole building has uncles, cousins and his father. We just saw his father earlier. He was allowed to leave for a few moments, but the Israeli authorities sent him back up. We're going to go and find out more.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised swift action in the aftermath. Khairi's home and that of a 13-year-old who carried out another attack on Saturday have had their homes sealed.
Well, we've just been stopped by the Israeli authorities of getting any closer to Khairi Alqam's home. It's a 6-story home with his extended family members already living there. Many of them are stuck inside. They've not been allowed out by the Israeli authorities for the last 3 days. Some of the kids behind me are also family members. Some of them said that they haven't been able to see their mother or father for the last 3 days. They've been promised that they will at some point, but it's not clear when. And tensions here seem to be really high.
In cricket news, trio hits 50s to bolster Red Force. Nandu props up Harpy Eagles. Amir Jangu, Tion Webster and Terrence Hines bailed out Trinidad and Tobago Red Force with half-centuries on the second day of their opening round in the Regional First Class Championship match on Wednesday. Playing on the second day at the Grenada National Stadium, Red Force clawed their way back from 82 for 5 to reach 315 all out in their first innings and secured a lead of 73 runs over Windward Island's Volcanoes. The left-handed Jangu top scored with 86 while Tion Webster struck 79 and Terrence Hines 52, ensuring Red Force rallied in the face of fast bowler Ryan John's outstanding spell of 5 for 18. In their second turn at the crease, Volcanoes reached 62 without loss, with Kimani Melius unbeaten on 39 and Jerlani Robidon on 20 not out. And that's the news on PBCJ. I am Maya Chung. You can follow us on our social media platforms.
And that's the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.